Hello everybody and welcome back to lesson 17, test of sound measurement. Test of sound measurement can be checked by validity, reliability and practicality. Before moving to the discussion, let us see measurement. Measurement is an important issue in business research. Actually, it is very important in every aspect of our life. And here, the main point is measurement must correctly measure the concepts or the items or the variables so that the conclusions and the decisions will be correct. If there is a mistake in measurement, there is a mistake in the analysis or there is a mistake in the findings. So to understand a business research or really any concept, we must be able to measure it accurately. A concept is it's an abstraction or idea formed by perception of phenomena, or it is a variable. Let's look at some examples about measurement. If we buy an ice cream and say it tastes good, so we are measuring the taste based on our previous experience. And similarly, if we say a student is clever, so we are measuring the performance of a student. And the manager wants to measure employee performance, motivation, turnover rates, and other performance indicators so as to make proper decision ahead. The accountants want to know about the profit, losses, assets and liability, depreciation, and so forth to act accordingly. The marketing managers want to know about the customer's preference, about the brand preference, and the tastes of the customers so as to act accordingly. And here, in order to measure some concepts, in order to measure some variables, for example, age, speed, height, it may be easy, but to measure concepts like perception, like the attitude towards something or performance and so on, it may be difficult. Anyway, the more effectively managers measure the business aspects or the business variable, the better the decision can be. Otherwise, if there is an error in measurement, automatically the decision made based on that measurement is automatically incorrect. So to ensure the accuracy of our findings, our measurement should be sound enough. Our measurement should be good enough, that is reliable and valid. So coming to the goodness of the measurement, the goodness of our measurement or the soundness of our measurement should be ensured with the following. That means the reliability, validity, and practicality. So if our measurement is good or sound, so it should be reliable, valid, and practical. Let's simply define the reliability. Reliability is the extent to which the results can be reproduced or consistent under the same conditions. So if we are measuring concepts, or if we are measuring a variable and get the same result or consistent result, so that can be reliable. And valid instrument it measures what we are actually want to measure or what we are supposed to measure. And the last one is practicality. The instrument need to be economical, convenient, and interpretable or understandable for the others. Let's see one by one. To start from reliability, as we previously defined, it refers to the consistency or stability of the measures or research instrument. It's important in research because if a measure is not reliable, actually, our result cannot be trustable and it cannot be valid. Actually, reliability contributes to validity. However, a reliable instrument need not be valid instrument. Reliability contribute to the validity, but it cannot assure its validity. Let's look at a simple example. If you measure your height consistently, that is repeatedly, and got 177 centimeter instead of the true value, the real value, the correct value, that is 175 centimeter. So the scale is reliable actually, because you get the same result with repeated measures, that is 177 centimeter, but that is reliable, but it cannot be valid or correct measures. So the reliability can contribute to the validity, but it cannot assure the validity. Reliability is in general most frequently associated with the multi-item scale. So the items or the variables representing a single concept need to be more than, greater than or equal to 3. To get the reliability or to examine the reliability, it should be multi-item, and the items or the variables, or we can say the indicator representing a single concept, should be greater than or equal to 3. If the items representing a single concept is 1 or 2, we cannot examine the reliability. Coming to the methods to test the reliability, to test whether our instrument is reliable or not, in general, reliability can be checked by the consistency of the results across different time, across different observers, across different parts of the test itself. Let's see one by one. First one is retest reliability. It involves administrating the same test to the same group of people at different point of time, then correlating the scores. The higher the correlation, the better the reliability. So here we are measuring the concept or some aspects of the variables with different point of time and correlating that results. If the correlation is higher, so the reliability is higher. And the second is alternate forms reliability. It includes administrating 2 different but equivalent forms of the test to the same group of the people and then correlating the scores. The higher the correlation, the better the reliability. That means we are just preparing 2 different but equivalent instruments, then taking the measures, then correlating the scores. And the third is inter-rater reliability. Here, assess the degree of agreement between 2 or more raters. Here the raters are many. So after taking the data or after measuring through that instrument, so we are just correlating. So if the correlation is higher, so the reliability is, the inter-rater reliability is higher. And the last one is internal consistency reliability. That is, this is, by the way, the most common type of methods to test reliability in research, which is mostly used or mostly applied in finding the reliability in research. So this assesses whether the items or the test measures the same underlying construct or concept. The items mentioned, the items stated or the indicator stated in a single concept measures only that concept. Anyway, let us see some detail about the internal consistency reliability. Internal consistency reliability, it is used to assess a summated scale of a total score for a construct. Let's take a simple example to better understand. To assess the satisfaction or loyalty about X restaurant, so let's take the following 3 questions. That is, how satisfied are you with X restaurant? How likely are you to return to X restaurant in the future? How likely are you to recommend X restaurant to a friend? Actually, first, these items are 3 items. That is, reliability is highly associated with more than or equal to 3 items. So we can examine the reliability because under a single concept, that's the satisfaction or loyalty construct, there are 3 questions which are related, which are talking about the satisfaction or loyalty construct. So each of these 3 questions measures some aspects of satisfaction and loyalty. Responses to such questions should be relatively consistent. For example, if an employee is satisfied, for sure he will return to the restaurant in the future and he will recommend to some of the friends. A very satisfied respondent is very likely to return in the future and very likely to recommend a restaurant to a friend. That means it is relatively consistent. So this is what we call internal consistency reliability. Let's see the rule of thumb about Cronbach's alpha coefficient size or the internal consistency reliability. The alpha coefficient actually, these are the ranges. So if it is less than 0.6, it is poor. If it is between 0.6 and 0.7, so acceptable for exploratory research. Actually, the objective of the research determines the acceptability of the coefficient alpha. If it is between 0.7 and 0.8, it is good. If it is between 0.8 and 0.9, it is excellent. If it is between 0.9 and 0.9, somewhat high. If it is greater than or equal to 5, here, mind you, not just notice here, it is too high, the indicators are redundant. That means the questions or the items are just the same. They are not talking about different aspects, rather they are just repeated or they are just redundant. So we have to avoid such, because just asking the same questions repeatedly is not ethical or doesn't have any value for our research. To obtain alpha, calculate the average of coefficients from all possible combinations of split halves. So we are just here taking, we are just splitting the equations into two. That is, we are taking the odd number equation and the even number equation in one category, and we will see the correlation between this. And if we get higher correlation, that is, the coefficient alpha will be higher. The researchers generally considers alpha 0.7 becomes unacceptable. That is a minimum, that is a threshold in most social science research. Although lower coefficients may be acceptable sometimes, depending on the research objectives. For example, when the coefficient alpha is between 0.6 and 0.7, it may be acceptable for exploratory research. In general, alpha ranges from 0 to 1, and acceptable level of the reliability indicates the respondents are answering the questions consistently. Coming to validity, a reliable measuring instrument does contribute to validity, as we said before, but it does not ensure its validity. Validity is the extent to which a construct measures what we are supposed to measure. A construct with perfect validity contains no measurement error. That is accurate. An easy measure of validity is comparing the observed measurement with that of the true measurement. So to assess the measurement validity, we use one or more of the following approaches. That is the content validity, the construct validity, which is subdivided into convergent and discriminant validity, the criterion validity, that is subdivided into concurrent and predictive validity. Coming to the content validity, it expresses the extent to which the measurement provides adequate coverage of the topic under study, or establishing the content validity, or sometimes we call it face validity of a scale, involves actually the subjective assessment of the scale's ability to measure what is supposed to measure. So here, to check the content validity or to assure whether the content validity is achieved or not, there is no mathematical approach. Rather, we have to consult a small sample of typical respondents or subject matter experts. We have to consult with subject matter experts to ensure that the suitability of the items or the indicator chosen representing the constructs. So to make sure that the methods cover the entire range of relevant behavior that define the construct being measured, we have to consult with the subject matter experts and some respondents. In general, a content validity is not considered an adequate measure of the validity, so we have to go for another type of validity to examine the validity. Let's look at an example to better understand. A scale designed to measure job satisfaction should include, for example, the items of compensation, work condition, relationship with work, co-worker, supervisor style, empowerment, opportunity for advancement, and so on. So if the job satisfaction items include this, and if any one of these measures areas does not have items, does not have question to measure it, so then the scale would not have content validity. The scale cannot cover the entire range of relevant behavior about the job satisfaction. So to make sure the content validity is achieved, we have to consult the subject matter experts. Continuing to the construct validity, the construct validity refers to the degree to which a test or other measures assess the fundamental or the principal theoretical construct that is already established, and it is supposed to measure that. So the construct validity assesses what the construct or concept or scale is measuring. To assess, before that, the degree that it confirms to predict correlation with other theoretical propositions. The construct validity assesses the degree that it confirms or that it corresponds to the to predict the correlation with the theoretical propositions. So to assess the construct validity, we must understand the theoretical rationale underlying the measurements we obtain, and to assess the construct validity, two checks have to be performed. That is the convergent validity and the discriminant validity. Here we can have the objective tests, we can get the numerical scores unlike that of the content validity. The convergent validity is the extent to which the construct is positively correlated with other measures of the same construct. If the items or if the indicators under the same construct, under a single concept, should have positive correlation with each other, but in the case of discriminant validity, it is the extent to which the construct does not correlate with the other measures that are different from it. So their correlation should be very low. If we take a correlation between the items, or if the correlation between different constructs. So this is what we call discriminant validity. So in the case of convergent validity, the correlation is higher. In the case of discriminant validity, the correlation should be lower. These are the this can be obtained through SPSS and AMOS, so we can get a numerical scores. Moving to the criterion validity, it refers or it reflects the success of measures used for some empirical estimating purpose, or it relates to our ability to predict some outcomes or estimates. It assesses whether a construct performs as expected relative to other variables identified as a meaningful criteria. Let's look at a simple example. A theory suggests committed employees would exhibit higher job satisfaction. So there is a correlation between measures of employee commitment and job satisfaction that is positive and significant. If this is so, then we have established a criterion validity for our construct. The scores can predict theoretically identified dependent variables, that is criterion variable. By the way, the other name of dependent variable is criterion variable. So the scores that is calculated based on the independent variable can estimate the criterion variable. The criterion validity further subdivided into two, that is concurrent and predictive validity, that will be discussed in the separate lessons. Coming to practicality or usability of the instrument need to be economical or affordable. The instrument need to be selected, or we have to keep the balance between the ideal research objective and the budget that we have. And the other is the instrument need to be convenient, or measuring instrument should be easy to administer and to manage. And the other is it should be understandable for both the observer or the data collector and the respondent, and the time required for the instrument to manage is should be short or should be permittable according to our plan. In general, sound measurement must fulfill the above mentioned tests, that is, the validity, the reliability, and the practicality. This is just a summary about the reliability and the validity. The reliability tells the results can be reproduced when the research is repeated under the same conditions. So the conditions should be the same. With different conditions, we cannot expect consistent results, and the validity tells us it measures, the instrument measure what we are going to measure, what we want to measure. How it is assessed? The reliability is assessed, the consistency of the results, by checking the consistency of the results across different time, across different observer, and across parts of the test itself. And the validities can be checked how well the results correspond to the established theories. And the last, how do they relate? A reliability contributes to the validity, but it cannot assure its validity. On the other hand, a valid measurement is generally reliable if the test produces accurate result, so they can be reproducible, they can be reliable. At the end, I provided you an exercise which shows the results taken repeatedly in the first circle, second, and third. And here are not valid, reliable, not valid, not reliable, valid, and reliable. So try to match and write the answer on the comment box. This is the end of our today's discussion, and thank you for listening. And next time we will meet with a separate discussion about reliability and validity. Till then, have a good time.